Hi, it's Scott again. Thank you so much for subscribing. And let's get right into the three signs of a narcissist. So, the first sign is a little difficult for me to talk about, so I'm glad I'm tackling it first. And that is the emotional sickness, vacuum, and void that you feel around this person. It is so hard for me to describe or define or convey the type of emptiness that you're going to experience around a narcissist. It's a very different thing than anything I've ever encountered before with another person. And it goes way beyond feeling worthless or feeling bad or feeling like you have no purpose or even right to be happy or be around or do anything. They do that as well. But it's a sort of never-ending commitment to an abusive relationship that you feel completely obligated to submit yourself to. And that's something that you have to experience, I think, to a large extent to understand. And I suspect you're experiencing it now. It's a type of total sacrifice for this person, the narcissist, that leaves you drained, helpless, hopeless, and somehow that fuels your service to them even further. You're so devoted to them. And they're able to harness that energy in this insidious and poisonous and sick way to force yourself to keep treating them. Like somehow the only way you're going to get out is if you keep doing it. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. They have some sort of trick they play on you, almost like a magician, that compels you to keep serving them, to even cause yourself pain, especially in the later stages of a relationship, to sustain this abusive, destructive cycle that ultimately they're behind, but you're the fuel for it. Because you make all the decisions in this case. It looks like, even if you can't tell now, it looks like they're in control and they're the ones wearing the pants, making the decisions. But they're not. It's actually you. They completely rely and depend upon you. And whether you say yes or you say no. Now, that's complicated, and I'll get that further into that in future communications with you. But suffice it to say that the narcissist creates this almost unbearable pain that forces you to commit to them and keep serving them and keep doing whatever it is that they want you to do. It's overpowering. You can't help it. You feel like you can't help it, at least for now, but I'll show you how to break away from that more in the future. But it's a type of emotional pain and negative energy that starts, grows, and keeps sustaining itself, almost like an addiction. Like you have to keep serving them and doing what they want, but you just keep feeling worse. And then what do? You turn around and do it again. They make you feel so awful and so empty. And you're always seeking some kind of approval and true empathy from them that you'll never get. And that kind of goes right into the next sign, which is things never change. It doesn't matter what you do or how successful you are in making them happy, things don't get better, they only get worse. And when you're very successful, they treat you even worse. It's a strange thing. And I'll talk more about that later. But what it is that a narcissist has to maintain control by keeping you in a state of failure. And if they can't keep you in a state of failure, or where you're successful, they have to do some kind of basically quick injection of negative emotions into you where your insecurities and the pain you're already feeling now kind of collapse in on you, because you have to be a failure for them to feel good. So you have to be in a constant state of failure, and your life has to be getting worse and worse, because narcissists never improve. They never improve their lives. They never get better. They're never really able to make any true innovations in their life. They can't control things. They rely on you and your support. It may sound funny now, but that's actually what's going on. And to maintain this illusion that they're in control and they're telling you what to do and you're following them, they have to get your commitment. They have to have you serving them all the time. But things can't improve for that to continue indefinitely like it has to, because they're not going to get any better, and so they can't have you getting any better. You have to stay in this state of failure and always trying to appease them and asking for an apology. And when you do that, when you grovel to them, they will accept it. They're going to act like royalty because that's how they see themselves. They see themselves essentially, as strange as it may sound, as gods, as superhuman. And you have to acknowledge that. You have to actualize that and make that real for them as if they're children. And so the whole dysfunctional relationship never changes. And you're always trying to serve them, and you're always failing. And they'll give you a piece of cheese now and then. They'll say that you did a good job, but it's a really big thing, especially when they're feeling insecure, in a moment of deep insecurity, which they're going to have, because that's their problem, is that they feel out of control and insecure, and like they're going to be abandoned. That all can only happen when you're supposed to serve them and you're in the role of servant or parent or caretaker or whatever and trying to make them happy. And to sustain that and keep it going forever, they have to keep you in a constant state of shame and disbelief in yourself so that you're seeking to get it from them. And it has to stay that way forever, and it always will, no matter what you do, as long as you're in a relationship or you're in this abusive, self-destructive cycle with this person. The next sign, the last sign, is a failure of communication. I don't know what it is and how much narcissists lie. It's hard to tell because they lie, but they're also deluded. They're also mentally ill to a point. It's hard to spot. They look like they're doing well. They're often sharp people and very aware. But it's impossible to communicate with them. You're not going to get your message through. You're not going to be able to tell them how you're feeling in a way that they can understand, because they don't care and they never will. Nothing will ever work. They'll nod their head, they'll pretend at times, but things will never change no matter what you tell them and what you do. When you see this happening is when things start to really change for you, because you realize how hopeless it is and how much of a destructive cycle that you're living in that's never going to stop unless you do something about it, that you change. And you start to realize that you're the one who's actually in control, not them, and that your actions are what are going to decide your future. So that's when this moment, this hopeless moment and situation, actually becomes hopeful, because now you see a real avenue for change and a real way to take back control of your life and overcome this person. Now, it may not happen immediately. It usually doesn't. It might take some time. But you've started along that path, and once it starts, you always succeed. You always reach the point where you're getting away from them. Because once you stop believing in the things they're telling you, and you understand that this failure of communication, no matter what you do, they're not going to understand, because they're operating on a different wavelength. They don't want to understand anyway, but they couldn't if they wanted to. If they tried, they wouldn't be able to. They don't have empathy for you, and there's nothing you can do that's going to create that empathy for you. You have to go somewhere else for that. And it also follows that I would highly recommend you don't tell them anything I've told you here right now, no matter how tempting it is, because it could be dangerous for you. It will set you back, and it'll make you vulnerable to them even more. Just keep it to yourself. Even if you don't believe it, let it sort of sit for a while, and it will come to you. You will see what I'm talking about. You will realize that no matter what you do, you're not going to have an open line of communication with them and an honest one that they can actually understand. It's just not going to happen, and it's not going to make any difference no matter how you talk to them or how honest you are. In fact, the more honest you are and the more you share your feelings, the more vulnerable you'll become, because they're going to continue to take advantage of you and hurt you and just use it to keep you more and more under their control until you break free, which will happen with this information, because it's such an unsustainable situation. It's so hard for them to keep control of you anyway. It takes all their time and energy. Once you start to break away like you have now, by listening to me in this video and letting this information sink in, your life is going to change for the better, and you will slowly break away from this person and not care what they think and be able to direct and determine your own life. Anyway, I hope you like this video. I'll be following up with you more in the future over the next few days. If you'd like to learn more right now, you can click below to learn about my guide, The 16 Signs of a Narcissist. All the information's there. It's just going to take you through every single thing I've ever learned basically about a narcissist and how to spot them, to some extent what you can do about it, and what you can do to counter the sort of abusive behaviors they lob on you, the mean things they do, and what you can do to kind of nullify that and neutralize that. And that's going to help you in an enormous way by arming you with these tools that took me many years to learn and are very proven and battle tested, because thousands and thousands of people have purchased that guide and they really, really like it and always tell me how great it's been improving their lives. And I'll be, whether you're interested in that or not, I'll be talking to you over the next few days with more information, and I can't wait to share all those things with you. I think you're really going to like it. So stay tuned, and I'll talk to you soon. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.